Hey guys, I'm Andy Moss from Moss Technical. Thanks for joining me on my masterclass on understanding smart home technology and why we need to budget for it. I'm the UK distributor for Niko home control products in the UK. And although I'm going to be talking to you about some Niko specific examples, there are, of course, a lot of systems on the market. So we can explore that now. So here goes. So we've all experienced technology changes over the years, and that's because life evolves. We look here at the simple wheel brace that we used to use for drilling, and now, of course, we've got the cordless power tool that we all take for granted. This is the same pretty much for the automotive industry, and that's because market demand has moved the industry on massively. We would never expect to buy a car these days without central locking or parking sensors or automatic headlights. They all seem to come as standard these days. You wouldn't consider anything otherwise. And the same goes for mobile phones. Of course, what we expected from our good old Nokia 6310i back in the day, which is every businessman's favorite phone because of the battery life just lasted forever. Of course, now we wouldn't expect anything less than a smartphone or an iPhone because previously we would grab a camera to take a photo, we would grab our phone to make a phone call, but now, of course, it does everything as well as more besides. Technology moves on. And this pretty much speaks for itself. But why? Well, the iPhone was invented in 2007. So, of course, where previously we would stand and watch and remember our experience at an event. This is the Pope's inauguration between 2005 and 2013. And of course, now at any event, all you see is a sea of mobile phones. And instead of actually watching the event these days, you tend to watch your screen. So in the digital world, this is all too common an image. People just tend to even talk to each other, stood next to each other by text or WhatsApp or Snapchat. It's becoming more the norm. But that's because technology has driven it this way. Of course, how we listen to music has changed. Previously, you would get your vinyl out, or in most cases, the CD, and you would select the album or the track you want, and if you wanted a different artist, you'd have to put a different CD in. Nowadays, we just stream. We can select playlists, and so therefore, how we listen to music has changed massively. And it's the same goes for cars. Sat nav getting us from A to B quickly, efficiently, safely, so we're not stuck in traffic and no longer having to get the massive AA roadmap out spread across the steering wheel to find an alternative route because you've come across some heavy traffic. And the way we game these days, it's a virtual world we can game in, and that goes for gaming. It goes for exercise. There's interactive sports these days, and that just massively has changed the gaming industry. Industry and society are setting these new expectations around us because of this technology improvement. We want to live an independent life for longer in our own home. So aging has changed. Being able to what we call age in situ, growing older in your own home, because the technology allows that. If you move into a care home because you need help, then care homes can cost between £600 and £1,000 a week per person. So, all your life savings that you'd planned on passing down to your children and all your investments all get swallowed up in care. So if you can live an independent life in your own home for a little bit longer, then that can be a great thing later in life. And then the IoT, the Internet of Things, the connected world these days, the fact that we can go to work and we can come home and our Roomba Hoover, for instance, has already cleaned the house, or our lawn has already been mown by our IoT connected lawnmower. It's just come out and done the lawn for us. So there's a massive range of technology these days with the IoT. Even your fridge, the fact that your fridge is connected. Why? Because you can enter your sell by dates, your use by dates on your products that you actually put into your fridge. So then your fridge can suggest recipes so you don't waste food because it knows what food is going out of date at what time, and it can plan ahead and create a shopping list and therefore make suggestions on recipes so you don't waste food. And the way we use energy these days, there's a massive shift on recycling and being generally greener because we're considering the environment a lot more these days. So, why leave lights on in your house when you can press an all off button and you know that all your lights are turned off and your heating's turned down just as you leave the house? These are all things that are possible with a smart home. So therefore, people are prepared to invest in things that matter to them most. The fact that we want control, the fact that we're prepared to invest in a mobile phone that costs £1,000 because we want the benefits that that offers to us, and all the apps and all the connectivity and all those benefits that go with that. And the fact that we're prepared to invest in safety, cars that have a better safety rating than a previous model, and adding safety within the home as well. The fact that your lights can turn on when your fire alarm goes off. These are all things people are prepared to invest in. And we also want to live a comfortable life at home. We want the heated environment to be nice and comfortable all the time at the right time, whilst perhaps turning that temperature down when you leave the house, and then it comes back up to normal when you return home. So based on this, we're seeing a lot of trends happening all around us. We're living in a connected world. Everything talks to each other without us knowing it. This impacts all the things we've talked about previously. And these trends have also impacted on housing expectations, what we expect from the home. We expect it from all our devices that we carry around with us, our smartphones, the way we get from A to B with our cars. And why not the house? Why not our home? Why do we still insist on wiring our home in the same way that we have for the last 40 years, where the light switch only ever operates the light, where the heating is controlled via a central thermostat, for instance, and the extractor fan always comes on when you turn the light on when you go into a bathroom, regardless of whether you're just popping in and out, just brushing your teeth. You don't need the extractor fan on or the ventilation system to boost during that time. And so the answer is, of course, a modular, expandable infrastructure, being able to give you comfortable living, being able to give you safe living, ecological living, and independent living, so you can live that independent life at home for longer. Of course, if you look at cost of care homes, private care homes are on average £600 to £1,000 per week per person. So, if you can live an independent life in your own home for a bit longer, then that's only a good thing. But of course, it needs to be factored in now before you start your build. So to basically show you how we used to wire an installation, this is a typical example of a two-gang switch wired in a two-way configuration. So a double switch. And as you can see behind it, there's quite a lot of lighting cables that come down to the switch. It takes quite a lot of time to wire and to terminate. And the upshot of that is that this switch is only ever going to operate the relevant circuit that is connected to it. Now, the amount of cables you can see here is as if we have wired in a two-gang, two-way configuration. So in other words, a similar switch at the other side of the room, which we often do for two-way switching. So quite a lot of time involved in that. Now with Niko Home Control, we're going to use a two-wire bus configuration. Now, a lot of the time, we could just use a basic data cable, and we can take two cores of that data cable. Now, when we select our wall switch, our PCB as we call it, this is a plate that gets fitted to the wall, and you probably see on the back there's some push-fit terminals that we can connect our light switch, our PCB into on the bus itself. So very, very easy to terminate. Then what we do is we select our button itself. This is a one button switch, and every button, if I could just focus on that there, you can see that, but every button's got its own unique address in the middle. That fits to the wall switch. Then we take our surround, and our surround connects onto it like so. So that's all that's involved. If we want to change that switch, then it's a simple case of taking the surround off, taking the button off, so it becomes detached, and then we can take a different button, and that connects on like so, and then we can put our surround back on. So now we've created a 4-button switch, still exactly the same cable though. Okay, so as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's a different configuration for wiring smart home installations, especially Niko Home Control. It's a much easier method of wiring. There is indeed about an 80 to 90% saving on switch wire cabling and labor. So when we're factoring in the overall cost of a Niko Home Control installation or a smart home installation, we need to take into account the savings that we can make on labor and cable. So this bus cable that we've previously wired now, this radiates in a daisy chain fashion via all our switches, our motion detectors, and our thermostats throughout the house. Why do we do that? Well, it means that when we press a button on it, the unique address of that button can shoot down the bus all the way back to a central point. Now, if you can visualize a bicycle wheel, the bicycle wheel is wired with a hub in the middle, and then you've got the spokes that radiate out to the relevant circuits. Now, the spokes are effectively our circuits now, our lighting circuits for dimming, for switching, for motorized blinds, for heating, anything we want to control for extractor fans, ventilation systems, you name it. So they all wire like the spokes of a wheel. And then at that central point where the hub is effectively, we're going to take modules. Now, for instance, a module for dimming. This is a 2-channel dimming module. For switching, this is a 6-channel switching module. So that will control 6 circuits of switching. And then motor modules and various modules that do different means of functionality throughout the house. So when these all connect into a central panel, like the hub of a wheel, we've now got central control of the whole house. So I'll show you how that can benefit us by showing you a little bit of the software to indicate what's possible over and above the existing method of wiring, and therefore also the flexibility of what we can achieve with smart home installation. Now, the Niko software is how we program the installation, and this is a very visual drag and drop software that can allow you to visualize what you want to achieve and link the relevant components throughout your house, the circuits and the switches or motion detectors or heating thermostats. So here goes. I'll just show you a few examples of the installation. Here is a finished property. It's a typical property, 3-bedroom house with various rooms, as you can probably see if I just zoom into certain ones. We've got the dining room there, we've got the kitchen here. If we drag to the hall, the entrance hall, the lounge, and so on, so bedrooms upstairs. If I just take a little example now very quickly in the dining room, of course, we've got 2 lighting circuits, the table lamps and the ceiling lights. Now, these are dimmable circuits, hence why they've got the plus and the minus on them. All we do quite simply is we add a player, we add our control, and I'm going to add a double push button in this area to control those 2 lights. All I'm going to do quite simply is I'm going to add an action now, and I'm going to link that lighting circuit with the left-hand button. Okay. And I'm going to link that circuit with the right-hand button. And that's it programmed. Okay, so the little blue icons here, these are our little set of instructions. So what's going to happen, the operation of this light now is going to be tap on, tap off when you tap the button, but if you press and hold the button, it will dim up and it will dim down. So that's a predefined function. So there we go, that room is simply programmed. If I decide I want to make a change later on in life, and I now want to control my outside lights, and I would like to have a room off function, then for instance, all I need to do is click on the button, delete the button. Okay, now I've got no linked players, hence why I've got the little warnings there. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to add another player now, and I'm going to add a 4-button switch instead. Remember, I've not had to do any cabling for this whatsoever. I've just swapped the buttons out as I demonstrated earlier. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to relink that button with the top left. I'm going to relink this circuit with the top right button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a basic action, and I'm going to link the outside light with the bottom left button. So now I'm controlling my, let's just drag that back into the area, sorry. So I've now just linked my bottom left button to control my outside lights, so I can turn my outside lights on and off from that same switch, okay? Lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform an all-off function for this room, just for this room now. So I'm going to add an advanced button, and I'm going to add a basic all-off in this area. And I'm going to select the control that initiates the action, which is the bottom right button. I'm going to select the lights that stay on longer. I might want my ceiling light to stay on a little bit longer, but then what I want to do is I want to turn off my dining table lamps. I might want to turn my thermostat into eco mode, and I might want to turn my music off because I've got Sonos linked in as well. So if you can see that here, I've got my dining table lamps turning off. I've got my dining heating turning into eco, and I've got my Sonos music turning off as well when I press my all off button. If I just go back into here, the ceiling lights are delay off, and the delay time is set in the bottom. So quite simply, I might want that as 30 seconds to turn off. Okay, so when I press the all off button, then the ceiling light, everything will turn off, the heating will turn down, and my music will turn off, but my dining table ceiling light and my dining room ceiling lights will stay on for an extra 30 seconds. So that just gives you an example of just one room and the flexibility of it. Of course, when we're integrating the whole home, then we can do lots of other things very, very simply and very quickly. A very quick example of the front doorbell. I've programmed it here so that if the front door chime is operated, then it sends me a message to say someone's at the front door. Okay, so this is all possible with Niko Home Control and, of course, smart home technology. So hopefully you found that interesting, guys. I'm sure you can see from the software and the way that the installation goes together how flexible and future-proofing the installation can be over the conventional installation method that we've done for so long. We're living in a connected world. We need to bring the house into that equation. If you're wiring your house now for a new build, then you're going to be living in that house for quite a long time, obviously. And if you think about how fast technology's moved on in the past 5 or 10 years alone, and look where we're going to be in another 5 or 10 years, then we really need to consider planning well in advance for this, rather than wiring it the old way and then trying to make it work the modern way with retrofits, additions that rely on Wi-Fi or radio frequency. So Niko Home Control is just one of the installations out there. We can help you design it and pull the installation together. Ultimately, the installation that you have at the end of the day for your home will be giving you lots of benefits like flexibility, future-proofing, energy saving, added comfort, safety, security. The list is endless, really. So yeah, it'd be great to talk to you. Click the chat button and I'll take some questions. Thanks for watching.